Hello and good early evening on this May 22nd, 2024, the second attempt of the launching of the test flight number 12 for Starship 39 and Heavy Booster 19. And I'm Rich Roberts, Fireman Rich, your who wants to watch this online. And they tried getting a launch. SpaceX tried getting the flight off yesterday, but could not. Let me see what my audio sounds like here real quick. Okay, we got good audio, but and it seemed like you had the Starship with the heavy booster, and on top there's mega arms. That's used for catching. Those are off to the side, but there's an arm that was attached. I guess they had a hydraulic problem and a sensor sort of bugged out there towards the end. So they've done some work overnight, I guess, and the spacecraft is on the pad as far as that goes, and there it is right there. It looks like, I guess, from all reports, from what I'm seeing right now, in about 10 minutes, 40 seconds, the loading of both the booster and ship will be complete, and we got 12 minutes to go for go or no go. And but there's our shot as far as that goes. We do have SpaceX is on the space.com, which we'll be going to shortly. This is from the folks from NSF, NASA, a feed from NASA space flight. No association with NASA. Okay, these are the guys that they're there year round, watching the site there at down there at for the SpaceX complex, and but we're going to go into SpaceX just before the. And here is their other camera view that they have. We'll share that. It has multiple views and stuff. And you can see the frosting on the Heavy Booster 19. And this is going to be a suborbital flight that will take off down there in Texas at SpaceX's launch facility. And will go halfway around the world to where it will land in the Indian Ocean on the Western Australian coast. Right now, we're looking at the new Launch Pad 2, where the Starship 39 and Heavy Booster are sitting at, and we're down to, that says 5 minutes, but it should be less than that. Let me check the other feeds here. Yeah, okay, we're 11:13, so we're right around the same time. Okay, so let's see. Currently, yeah, we're right on schedule there as far as getting it down to the time of the launch. So there we are, distant shot there. They've got various different camera views. That's what's great about NSF, or did I say it right? Yeah, NSF, NASA Space Flight. Again, no association with NASA. That's just in. So give them a follow on YouTube, folks. So we're down to 10 minutes and counting, and we're going to go ahead and watch the launch. I'm a big space nut, so I'm pretty excited about this. There was a celebrity entertainer that came in yesterday at the launch at about just under the 7-minute mark. Cardi B, and I think she's the one. I'm just making fun here, but I think she jinxed it. I just think that was odd. I just have to mention that again. It's just I have a Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning broadcast, and I sort of mentioned that this morning on the Friday morning coffee broadcast that I do at 6 to 8 Eastern time here on the live streams. We've got 6 people total. We got 3 people on Rumble. Thank you, Rumble. Rumble rocks. Greatly appreciate it. And as far as that goes, and we have 1 person on Twitch and 1 person on Locals and 1 person on YouTube. Those are the 4 channels I broadcast on. If you want to see where else I'm at on these social media feeds, just Google Fireman Rich and you'll see where else I'm at as far as that goes. So we're down to We're down to 9 minutes and counting, and I'm pretty excited. We're going to stay with the whole flight throughout, and of course, the people there at NSF, they've been there all day long, and but I'm pretty excited. So let me bring this one up here as far as the you can see the arm there just below the mega arms. That's the and where it's attached to the Starship 39 version 3. Now this is a version 3. You can see that that arm has to maintain a connection up until like the last moment, and I guess at the last moment yesterday they got up down to the countdown started going from 40 and it went down to about 28, then it bounced back up to 40. So to me, that I think a lot of us have seen these as like that's not really too good to see. Something's going on. So there was a sensor or something wasn't jiving on a hydraulic pin or something like that. And but the flight itself, um, let's see, um, let's see what we got here. Yeah, this they report SpaceX reports all systems are go as fueling continues for Starship Flight 12 test flight for the next generation of V3 rocket. The fuel process will continue until just minutes before liftoff to top off the giant Starship with its liquid methane and liquid oxygen. For Starship version 3, SpaceX has upgraded the fuel transfer tube inside the giant super heavy booster, that's super heavy booster number 19, to better deliver propellant to the 33 Raptor engines that are on the first stage. So that's an update there. Let's see, that's 613. So the latest updates are right up here then. So let's 620. SpaceX is down under 10 minutes away from the planned launch. It plans on launching at it'll be 5:30 p.m. Central Time, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. SpaceX says and understands and has addressed the hydraulic pin issue that prevented Flight 12 launching yesterday. It shouldn't happen again, SpaceX spokesman said. In the Indian Ocean, a space reentry team is waiting to observe the reentry to Earth of the Starship version 3 upper stage. The team has developed a series of camera carrying buoys to try and capture live video of the landing. So that should be pretty exciting to see. So let's go ahead and see what we have here on the audio here, folks. So stand by.
Astronauts, you couldn't have had better ambassadors for humankind to the stars. And they really brought us all along for 10 days. And we're getting ready for what comes next. We're going to start stacking Artemis 3. We got a lot of the hardware in the VAB already. We're hoping to even get out to the pad before the end of the year, do another wet dress. So,
all right.
And we're looking forward to seeing this thing fly because hopefully at some point in the not too distant future, we're
excited to be part of this entire Artemis program. Really excited to see Starship sending people to the moon, all of the different pieces working together. It's going to be a really exciting future.
Oh, absolutely. Well, thanks for having me here. It's great to see everybody. Again, I know a lot of hard work leads up to a moment like this. So we're all rooting for you, and we're looking forward to meeting up next year in Earth orbit.
All right, man. Well, I'll let you jump back in there. Got about 4 minutes to go. I'll just toss it back down to Kate and Jake.
Okay, we're going to go to some camera feeds here and share here. We're down to less than 4 minutes, under 4 minutes to go right now. So, and as far as we got 3 minutes. They're still loading the fuel. We still got a minute, less than a minute for the booster 19 to be filled up, and then a minute and a half for ship, and then we got 3 minutes to go for a go, no go. And we'll see how that takes as far as that goes. We're down to 3 minutes and 35 seconds as far as that goes. And we'll keep tabs on that. And let's see. And we'll go back to, let me refresh this to one more time before we go. And we'll bring this camera view back into play from space.com. And we'll see what they have to say here.
Quiet countdown today. We are looking at a green range still, not tracking any issues with our weather, with the vehicle, or with the pad for a launch. We are now getting into the phase where we're closing out prop load on the ship, and then booster is going to close out in about 15 seconds or so. Once we're fully done with this, you're looking at 11.5 million plus pounds of liquid propellant on board Starship and Super Heavy. We're going to get the pad itself ready, push back all of the propellant that's in those lines running from the farm up to the launch mount, just kind of harden the area and get it ready for launch. We're going to peek inside, hopefully see the engines do a little wiggle as we do our final steering check. That'll happen at T-minus 100 seconds, and then after we get through T-minus 40. If you tuned in yesterday, you're very familiar. If we need to hold, we can go into what's called rapid recycle, essentially, where we can hang out at T-minus 40 seconds. It's built in. We're only going to hold if there's an issue, not currently tracking one. They can pop up after we pass T-minus 40.
Priming for launch while the ship's engines begin their assembly profile and arms the automatic flight safety system.
Yeah, and once we pass T-minus 40 seconds, we still have the ability to rapidly recycle the count under certain conditions back to T-minus 40 seconds.
Looks like we might be getting some engine wiggles here, as Dan mentioned earlier.
Set. We're down to a minute and a half.
Allow us to check out the thrust vector control actuators on these engines. It's important to make sure that they can steer.
Yeah, that's definitely right. And flame diverter on pad 2 activates at around T-minus 7.
And we have a hold.
Yeah.
Okay, we're at a hold.
Once again waiting for the pushbacks. So it might be reset really quickly here. Just like yesterday, remember? I heard the vent and the clock is rolling.
There we go. Clock is running for launch.
Here we go, folks.
Stand by for the detonation suppression system.
Go for launch.
That's what we want to hear. SpaceX are go for launch. We're going to stand by for the deluge. That'll be a really obvious thing. And then, of course, that ignition and top deck going off. Starship V3 might be about to fly. There's the weir vent. There comes the deluge.
There's the deluge.
Let's look for, there's the top deck. We should be seeing ignition.
I see the deluge. I see no flames. Oh, there we go.
There's ignition.
We have ignition.
And I believe we have liftoff of Starship version 3. 30 seconds max Q. 20 seconds max Q. 10 seconds max Q.
'She's off and running, folks. Here we go.
Starship version 3 is airborne, and we are headed to space under the power of 33 Raptor 3.
Oh, wow. 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 It's on its way, folks. It's on its way.
Of MECO, most engines cut off, so we're going to shut down all but 5 of the Raptor engines on the booster. And then after that happens, we're going to ignite the 6 engines on ship while it is still attached. We have clamps that hold the 2 together. Those are going to retract inside of that hot stage ring, kind of protect them. So we had one of the engines go out,
you
still
look off to
flying
the
on
left here, there's
32
one engine
of the
that's out.
Raptor engines. But again, once we get the hot staging, those 6 engines on the ship are going to ignite. We're going to do it in a little bit different of a sequence on version 3. Essentially, those 3 RVAC engines will ignite first. Almost immediately after, just one of those central engines is going to ignite, and that's going to give the booster a bit of a kick, sending it in a known direction, followed shortly after by the other 2. We're through MECO.
Separation.
There you go. Successful hot staging separation.
Here we go. Booster 19's
We're not
done its
seeing
job.
as many booster engines ignite
Starship
as we
39, you can
expected
see
for
the
boost
number
back,
there, S39.
but we are seeing 6 good engines lit on ship. It looks like we just had an early boost back shutdown. Again, a reminder, the booster was planned to essentially head into the Gulf for a splashdown, but it has shut its engines down early on into boost back.
You can see right above the number S39.
And
that's
we
one of
just
the
see
ports there
one
for
of the
refueling.
RVAC, so we're now running on
But look at
5
this camera
engines
view.
on
Look at
ship.
this camera view, folks. Great.
We do have engine out capability, so it's going to continue into its ascent.
Uh-oh. The engine's
You
off to
got
the right. You
booster
can
on the
see
left
one
there,
engine is
ship
out.
on
One
the
of the
right.
main engines are out here, so see what
Ship
happens.
avionics power
Again,
and
we are
telemetry
not
nominal.
planning on bringing the booster back for this flight, as this was the very first time. All right, so we're about 3 minutes, 50 seconds into today's flight. Just a reminder that the ship planned to burn its engines for about 8 minutes and change. About 8 minutes and 11 seconds was our planned timeline for today. That could shift slightly as we do have one engine out running on 1 fewer RVACs. Again, continuing to watch. So booster did not complete its boost back burn. We did not see all of the engines ignite that we expected. Are continuing to get some views from it, though. That's going to make a splashdown somewhere in the Gulf. Reminder, we clear air, sea space, everything for these launches. All right, so we are coming up on T plus 5 minutes. Ship continuing to fire 5 of the 6. Standing by for callouts, making sure ship's on its planned trajectory. Again, we are planning a suborbital trajectory for the ship today. Booster giving us some views as it continues to make its way back down towards the water.
Okay, the picture on the
All
left,
right,
that's
so a little over
Booster
5.5
19
minutes in
returning,
flight. Kate, Jake, you guys
and
with
the
me? Looks
picture on
like
the right is
Booster's starting to
Starship.
come in
It looks
hot.
like it's a static.
Yeah, we had the opportunity to stand outside to watch launch, and wow, that was incredible.
Yeah, that was really loud, really shaky, and I was actually surprised how fast the booster got off the pad or the whole stack. That was quite incredible.
Absolutely. So we have views here from the booster coming back down, making its way into the Gulf. Pretty cool to
We
see.
have healthy chamber pressures on 5 out of 6 ship Raptor engines.
Great news there
Landing
for
startup.
Starship.
So we're watching Booster 19 come back. It's going to land in the Gulf.
Once again, we were not going to bring the super heavy booster back to the tower. We were planning on having it land
we
in
got
the
some
Gulf.
camera loss now. Now we're back to Starship. Starship has a camera. Okay.
And it looks like the booster ended its mission there in the Gulf, but we've got a ship still flying. Great to see that. Still have 5 out of 6 engines there on S39.
Yes, we also heard good chamber pressures as well on those engines that are lit. We do have engine out capability. We do see that we have one of the RVAC, one of the Raptor vacuum engines that is currently out, but that's okay. Ship is continuing on. Amazing views of planet Earth there in the background.
Yeah, I love the S39 decal there. That just gives the ship a little bit of character. And again, all these great views
agree.
brought to you by
That's
Starlink,
39.
of course.
Starship 39 in flight.
Yeah, obligatory shout out to the entire Starship avionics, camera, electronics team. Did a whole lot of work to get these upgraded cameras. A look inside of the ship skirt, you can see those 3 center engines ignited. The RVAC's continuing to fire as well. We did see at least a couple engines fire up on booster for that landing burn before we lost contact with it. We should have just a little over 20 seconds to go. We'll see if the burn extends a little bit for the engine out. Essentially, you can run your engines a little bit longer or throttle up a little bit more to account for the one engine not being lit. So right now we are standing by for SECO.
So we got some great views here right now. Starship 39
Again, we
doing
are
its
continuing to
suborbital
go
flight
a little
here.
bit
Booster
longer.
19, heavy Booster 19 is in the Gulf. Didn't get any pictures or video of it touching down, but
5 engines still burning on ship.
all the emphasis now is on Starship 39. We're getting some great camera views here. Some great camera views as far as that goes, folks.
We are coming up on T plus 9 minutes. And starting to see shutdown. RVACs have shut down. Sea levels are shut down.
Definitely some better camera views from
Seeing if we
previous
can
launches.
get an update on the ship orbit insertion, but we have shut down again. We did run longer as we were engine out. We were flying with 5 of those 6 Raptors pretty much the whole time.
Ship FTS
Wow,
is
look
saved.
at that view, folks. Look at that view.
All right. Well, we definitely got a ship in space right now.
And that's for sure. Yes, sir. Very happy workers there.
As you can see, the teams are incredibly excited to see Starship there in space. We are awaiting the call out of nominal insertion. So we're going to stand by for that. We can see the flaps moving here, actuating. But wow, the cheers here in the lobby are certainly almost as loud as liftoff was.
Yeah. Man, a lot of action going on. And, we said at the top of the show, excitement guaranteed. And we're only 11 minutes in. We still have a lot more to go here on the mission today. So all objectives are done on the booster. So now all eyes are on the ship as we get ready for our in-space objectives.
Exactly. So like I said, we're still standing by to hear the call out for nominal orbital insertion, but we've got a few minutes before the next milestone. So we're going to continue. We've got some amazing views here of the ship. Wow, it's just that this is our planet. This is our home.
I'm noticing on the gauge that's on the lower left there.
As a reminder, the objectives
speed
for ship
is,
today
dropping slightly,
not
but
only
altitude
included
is
the
going up.
separation
We're
that
at
we saw,
159
but we're also planning
as
to
far as
deploy 20
160, so it's gaining
Starlink
altitude
simulator
while
satellites,
the
as
speed
well
is
as
sort of coming
2
down.
Dodger Dog satellites, if that's what our internal teams refer to as our newer satellites. We saw a preview of those earlier. We should see those deployments here in a little bit. We're also hoping to perform a relight of a Raptor engine as well.
Yep, that's exactly right. And the relight will look a little bit different this time. We're hoping to get a little bit of a longer duration. Of course, we got to see once we get there. And that relight won't actually be changing our orbit necessarily, but we're doing it more so as a technology demonstration.
So the Starship is going roughly 16,420 miles per hour right now at that particular kilometer per hour. So it's going 16,000.
For those of you that maybe just recently tuned in, you missed a pretty exciting almost 13 minutes. We had a liftoff pretty much on time, almost right exactly at 5:30 p.m. We did have a brief hold at the T-minus 40-second period, but we were able to proceed through that, and we saw a gorgeous liftoff. Jake and I were able to stand outside and witness that with all of our colleagues, and what a moment. I'll tell you what, it is a heck of a lot louder out here than it was at Ad Astra.
Absolutely. And a couple of things I noticed on the way uphill today on the ship. So obviously it looks like we lost one of the RVACs on the way, but that is a good way to demonstrate our potential engine out capability there. So
exactly.
I think we actually saw the 3 gimbaling engines kind of gimbal over a little bit to compensate for that offset and thrust. So that was really cool. That's something I know the team's been, we've analyzed that since Flight 1 all the way back. So it's something that we've thought about quite a bit, and it was kind of cool to see it in action in real life today.
Yeah, absolutely. If you couldn't tell, Jake is on the Raptor team.
Yeah. But one non-Raptor thing I noticed also back on the when we had the shot of the aft flaps, it's a little weird. We have tiles on the leeward side, so not on the side where we're going to see heating. And you might be asking, why are we putting tiles there? I had the same question actually. So I talked to some of our heat shield engineers the other day, and we're actually running. Yeah, here's the shot right here. Great. So the fact that we're seeing all these tiles still on the flap right now is really good, because that actually was one of our experiments where we wanted to test different connection methods on the way uphill on ship. So actually ascent. So it looks like most, if not all, the tiles are still hanging on there. So that's actually a really good data point.
Looks pretty good to me. Now, once again, this view is from the side of Starship, which is basically the second stage of the Starship vehicle as a whole. This is one of the flaps on the vehicle that helps to control its position and attitude as it is orbiting, and also helps to control during reentry as well. That's a critical phase. I mentioned earlier that we're hoping to deploy those Starlink satellite simulators, as well as perform an in-space relight of a Raptor engine. If all of that goes well, we will be targeting a soft splashdown in the Indian Ocean. We heard from Suren on the recovery team a little bit earlier. They are standing by waiting to
And that will
the
be in
ship
the
that we see here.
Indian Ocean off the west coast of Australia. The landing, and we lost our camera view. The spacecraft right now, Starship 39, is traveling 16,300 miles per hour. It's at an altitude of 170, and we lost our feed. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. So let's go ahead and we'll back this out, and we'll wait to have we lost some camera. That's not a good sign. Let's see what we have on the other feeds here. And 16 minutes, NASA flight.
Now headed towards the other side of the planet.
Okay.
And then a splashdown
Okay, we
in
got
the Indian
our
Ocean.
camera back. Camera
It's going to
view is
start
back,
to get
so let's bring
darker.
that
We're
back
heading
up.
into an orbital sunset. So we're gonna have darkness for a little bit, and then it'll brighten up once we're on the other side of the planet, and hopefully looking at some good daylight when we re-enter into the Indian Ocean.
Looks like it's almost driving through some fog. I don't know if that's a light that's shining. But if that, or else that's just a camera. That's got to be the camera flickering, the pixels on the camera and stuff like that.
All right, so we're a little over 17 minutes into flight. If you're just now catching up with us, we did see a liftoff right at the top of our window. Super Heavy getting off the pad, initially lighting all 33 of those Raptor engines, got through a successful hot staging. Initially lit 6 engines on ship, had 1 RVAC go out on the way uphill, but still able to make it into space. And right now we're trying to see if we are going to get into payload deploy still.
And the aircraft, or the spacecraft, is 114 miles above the
Coming
Earth
up
right
right
now.
on the
That's
part of the timeline
kilometers,
when
but,
we were
what's that,
expecting it. Look
185,
inside a Starship there.
correlates to,
I see a door opening.
correlates to, let's see, 185.
Looks like Hal didn't wait. Pez door is open.
It's
just a reminder, we've
about
got
115 miles
22
above the Earth right now.
deployables in the payload bay today. 20 of those Starlink mass simulators, and then 2 are Dodger
And it's
dogs.
traveling at
We like to call them
16,300
internally,
miles per hour.
setting up their modified V2 Starlink satellites. Those are going to be testing a bunch of components that we're planning to fly on Starlink V3, and we've also got them outfitted with a number of cameras for another tech demo that we're trying out on this flight. We definitely are looking for a way that we can look at Starship's heat shield while it's still in space. You can kind of only see so much from the cameras and the flaps. You can't see everything kind of on the underbelly, and one of the only ways you can do that is if you got something else flying near it. So we're going to attempt to our final 2 satellites going out the door have a suite of cameras on them that are going to be looking back at the ship. We're going to be in nighttime, and so we've got, sounds like we're getting into payload deploy. We'll be in nighttime. They've got some powerful flashlights on them to try and illuminate the ship's heat shield while we fly away from it. So we see some Pez motion.
There it goes. They're sending one of them out to space.
Pew, pew. Two down, 20 to go. as a reminder, that's one of the things that we upgraded in version 3. Kind of gave a little soup up to the Pez dispenser, so those satellites going to move out a little bit quicker than they did on previous Starship flight tests. So first 2 out the door, 2 more on their way out. All right, 4 down, 18 to go. Flexing my basic math skills here today. Again, the majority of this stack, 20 of these 22 satellites, they're essentially just mass simulators. So they're roughly the same size as those Starlink V3 sats that we're hoping to fly later this year. And from this top-down view, so you're looking down at the stack, those 2 satellites you see on the very top, that they'll look very different. They've got solar arrays. They've got a bunch of other deployables on them that we're going to be testing out that are going to be V3 tech, and they've got 3 engineering cameras and then 1 other camera that's hopefully going to be giving us some views of Starship in space. But we will see how that works. Again, this very much a tech demo. We're going to deploy those. The satellite's going to kind of try and turn everything on, look back at Starship. And the primary reason we're trying to do this is to get some views of the heat shield. All right, 2 more out the door.
2 more out the door, and I think that counts, or that comes up to 8 total.
As you can tell, the teams are stoked to see this demonstration happening. It's pretty incredible to see this happening live from space. Now, as we noted earlier in the show, but worth repeating, this Starship version 3 is built to deploy up to 60 of Starlink's more advanced V3 satellites. Everything's V3, designed to offer 60 terabits per second of downlink capacity per satellite. Now, that is 20 times more than each Falcon 9 does today. Incredible.
All right, I think that's number 10 going out the door. Yeah, there it goes. So yeah, the camera view you have on your left screen there is basically right at the bottom of the payload volume. So the kind of dome-shaped structure you see there that's actually the top of the fuel tank.
Then the camera view that you have on the right is an external camera that we have positioned so that you can see basically the light through the open Pez dispenser door that you see. That's that sliver of light. We can see the Starlinks here deploying as each one comes through.
Pretty exciting stuff here. This is going to be a new
As we
way.
mentioned,
These
we
are all
have
dummy
20 of
satellites
these
that they're
Starlink
deploying. The
simulator
last 2 will
satellites,
have
and then we
cameras
have
on them.
2 of these
And
specially modified, as we call them, Dodger dogs here around here. Those, as Dan mentioned earlier, they have some V3 tech on them, some solar arrays, and those will be the last 2 that will be deployed today.
And they will also have some cameras.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know if with the darkness,
And
we're in the darkness of the Earth's shadow right now.
I think Dan called them turbocharged or supercharged Pez dispenser. It's definitely coming out much faster than our previous flights, so that is really good to see.
Problems and stuff. So this is going
yeah, look at that
here. This operation right now.
And especially once we, fill Starship up all the way with around 60 or so of these Starlinks,
wow, that's a
being
big
able to
right
deploy
there,
them fairly expediently, is going to be important for designing the overall mission profile.
Yeah. Now, fans of Starship may know that Starlink enables lots of unprecedented views, both from space, as we see here, and on Earth. In addition to the dozens of cameras on Starship itself, we also have mobile Starlink camera kits deployed in the Indian Ocean.
Those are on buoys.
Yeah, Starlink
Starship
also connects
39
our
comes down for a
aerial
soft landing in
cinematography
the
units
Indian
on the
Ocean off
ground
west
at
coast of
Starbase and
Australia.
at other strategic camera spots around Texas.
It's all part of how it all comes together.
I think we're getting
to
down
tell
to
the
it looks like we
incredible
got
story
three
of
left.
Starship,
The
both
last two
on
are supposed to have
and
some
off
camera
planet.
views of some sort.
Yep.
You can see on the right the camera view. There's one going out the lit side.
Right, we're getting
they're in
low
dark side
on the
of the
stack.
Earth right
Looks
now.
like we got 2 more
Yep.
of those simulators to go out, and then it will be time
Come on,
for
camera.
our
Hold.
Dodger Dogs,
We
those
want to see
modified
this. The
Starlink
camera.
satellites. Just a couple of updates while we continue to watch payload deploy. Did get confirmation we're going to be skipping that relight of the Raptor engine, just due to everything that we saw on the way uphill. Those sea level engines, we're going to use them for a landing burn, though. They are still capable to be used for that. So we'll still look to do a controlled landing in the Gulf, but no in-space relight.
That previous shot was looking down through the inside of the Starship.
Right, I think
39.
that's 19 and 20 headed out the
Let's see if we
door.
get a camera view.
And then coming up are our Dodger Dogs. So these are modified V2 Starlink satellites.
Okay, these are the two. Okay.
We do have a number of cameras on these that are going to attempt to look back at Starship. We're not going to get this video in real time, but we're going to try and turn it around if we do get some video down. So don't worry. If we get views of Starship from these satellites, we will be sharing. And these will be exciting because, again, they're really a tech demo, getting our chance to test out some of the technologies for version 3. All right, I think that's 18 and 20. My basic math skills are failing now. All right, here we go.
We'll see what kind of camera view we get. The altitude that says off to the left, 190, that's actually
standing by for
approximately
Starship,
118 miles.
basically to serve the first Dodger Dogs to low Earth orbit.
And one out the door. And in this view, you can kind of see on the right side of the satellite, you see some bright white spots. Those are our flashlights. Beneath them, the camera is going to attempt to look back and image Starship's heat shield as it flies slowly away from the vehicle. And there it goes.
Wow.
Let there be light.
Yeah, it almost looks like the light is just shining right at us there.
If you couldn't tell, we're pretty excited.
Yeah.
It is always sunny in space.
Always sunny in space, and that looks like an empty payload bay. So
sure does.
That's exactly what you want to see there. That's great. So yeah, with payload deploy complete. Oh, you can see the door closing there. All right, there we go. So yeah, with payload deploy complete, Starship will now close its Starship, we closed the payload door, and we're going to continue to coast around Earth all the way to the Indian Ocean. So still a lot of major events to come today. Sounds like we're not going to hit that Raptor relight based on what Dan was saying, but after that, of course, we'll have the atmospheric reentry and splashdown. And with that, we're going to go on another quick coast.
So sit tight, enjoy some amazing space views and the space jams, of course. And we'll be back in a few minutes for Raptor relight. Excuse me, not for the relight, but we'll be standing by for atmospheric reentry.
Okay, so there's a flap of the Starship 39, and we're seeing they're not going to start the restart one of the engines, but let's go over to the NSF folks here and see what they have to say about it as far as commentary here. So let me bring that up.
A reusable first stage and a reusable second stage with new thermal protection, modern advances in compute power and precision navigation and control. This is our science future that you're looking at. This is not a Robert Heinlein book or an Arthur C. Clarke book. I mean, this is what they had dreamed of, and what most of us have dreamed of for a long time. Really taking humanity to the stars.
Absolutely. You can see they're rotating the ship in the graphic at the bottom right, and this light is actually from the satellites. They're shining these really bright lights on the Starship, because obviously right now they're in nighttime, orbital nighttime. There shouldn't be any sun out there. This is just like the satellites themselves, right?
So was that dot that we saw by the flap, was that the moon, or was that one of the lights from the satellites?
I think it was one of the satellites. Yeah, one of the lights from that, and it's rotating the ship, and so they're able to image the whole of the heat shield at the bottom. Wow, that's bonkers. I wonder how powerful this light is.
I mean, that was part of one of their purposes, wasn't it, to be able to send up these two extra these Dodger dogs, as they called them, to make sure that they could get the images they want of the heat shield, which is exciting to see that this is going to plan for them.
And
it's super important engineering data. If you think back to Columbia, it had damage to the leading edge wing, and we didn't even really know it, or at least we didn't know the extent of it before those astronauts re-entered the Earth. So your heat shield is literally millimeters or very small number of inches between thousands of degrees of hot gas plasma directly blow torching against the spaceship, and what amounts to aluminum underneath. So you really have to understand what the condition of those heat shields are.
Okay, those are the commentators there at
returns and has a problem. You want to know what the condition of those
NASA
thermal tiles were before you tried to re-enter.
Okay, so what do we got going
to
here?
be able to have access to this kind of engineering data just continues to push that.
Go ahead and drop that right there. Okay, so I'm just checking the speed and the altitude here of what do we have here? Basically, Starship is it's still in the Atlantic and over getting ready to fly over the southern tip of Africa from what it shows right there. So we're going to go back to Starship here, or space.com, which has basically the same map there. We'll keep it on that page. And that's the general locate. That's a location right there. So 26,400. It's going 16,300 miles still, and they've got it in kilometers. And it looks like the altitude is dropping a little bit. We're at 170 kilometers above the Earth, which is 105. So it's dropped like 10. It's starting to come down, I guess, as it's passing over the southern tip of Africa, just by the speed indications there on the lower right. They have them in kilometers, but I'm changing them out here on the into miles per hour. So this is we're cruising through, getting ready to fly over the southern part of Africa, and be starting to come down. It's a suborbital flight, so it's not a fully orbital. There's been, from what I've seen from my standpoint, there's been a few issues they had in Booster 19, Heavy Booster 19 on liftoff. They had one of the engines there, the Raptor engines, that wasn't lit, and they also had one of the three larger engines on the Starship 39 that wasn't. So I'm just wondering if not able to that one engine didn't light is the reason why they didn't do, because they do some testing, and one of the test benchmarks that they have is once they're in space they have to once they shut their engines down is to turn one of the engines back on, and pretty much to demonstrate that they're capable of maneuverability right now. So basically just the inertia speed on launch as it gets up into space, it's gliding around, but gravity is slowly bringing it down because we're at an altitude of 162. So that's showing a degrading of the altitude. So 162 kilometers above the Earth. It's at 100 miles above the Earth. So it's starting to come down noticeably as far as that goes. And the speed is picking up now. So where when it was launching, it seemed like the altitude was gaining and the speed was going lower. So now it's on its return time, because you can see that I'm just noticing this as far as those numbers from an observer, viewer's aspect, that the altitude is slowly declining where the speed is slowly increasing. So that would indicate it's probably making a return back to the Earth. So, but we're still in a good flight right now, and the big test is when hopefully we get a camera view once it comes down and does a soft touchdown, where they'll probably try and they'll be lighting the engines to keep it from doing they had a term for it. I can't think of the term. It's as far as a breakup and stuff like that of the ship there. And the main thing as far as upon re-entry is the heat shields. Hopefully the camera views will hold to where once it starts coming in, we're starting to see some orange air. So, and we're at 153 kilometers above. So, or no, 153. So 153 is we're down to 95. So we're dropped in the last minute 5 feet. So and they're showing the inside of the Starship 39 in the belly of the beast. Oh, that's the one. Oh, that's the one satellite that left. Okay, there's a view from the satellite that left, and that little hose that's right off to the left, top left. That's one of those fuel points they have. They have 4 of those. One top, there's one below. Wow, look at that view. That is something. Do we have any audio on this? Oh, it's just music. They're just showing it. That's something. And let's see. Currently, SpaceX Starship version 3 upper stage Starship 39 has successfully deployed all 22 of its dummy Starlink satellites. The process appears to be going smoothly and much faster than previous payload deployments. Starship has a narrow slit in the payload bay that we saw right there, and we're seeing it again as far as we watch it. Well, we did see that. The so-called Dodger dogs and that's the one we saw leaving, are models of SpaceX next generation Starlinks to fly on Starship. They turn on flashlights to look back at the ship in an attempt to photograph its heat shield. As Starship or Starlink lights turn on, more cheers were ringing out. Starship 39 is now coasting in a coast period ahead of reentry around 7:35. So it's 7:10 right now. So that's in about 25 minutes Eastern time. SpaceX has decided to forego the in-space Raptor engine relight, and that's primarily because there might be an issue. This is a test flight, so you're going to have things they're going to do and things they're not going to do. So if it's making, let's see, what are we at? We're at 130, 138 on altitude. So it is dropping and our speed is increasing. So 138 is 85 miles above. So it's making entry. So we should be starting to see heat shields, and that might be the orange glow there. That might be the heat buildup.
Engine. It was
There we
not
go.
needed for our trajectory or anything. We are on this suborbital trajectory to splash down in the Indian Ocean. We are going to attempt a landing burn. We'll see how they perform when we get there. And just a reminder, we are going to be stressing the ship on the way in. We're going to intentionally do a maneuver where we're going to kind of pitch the nose up and deploy those bottom flaps to really put a lot of pressure on them. So we'll see how it does through that maneuver. And then we'll be doing kind of a final banking turn before we get to a landing burn. So all that coming up in a few minutes. The light show should start beginning real soon.
Okay, there we have it. The light show is probably starting right now. We're getting ready to be seeing as a reentry. You're seeing some flashes of orange. I want to say hi to our good friend Deplorable on the Rumble. Hello, good evening to you, sir. Glad to have you here, coming in from Bradford, Pennsylvania. And Deplorable, for those people that are watching, is one of my regular viewers. So glad to have you here, Deplorable. And it looks like the heat buildup on the shields, as you see the orange glow, that's on the heat shields themselves. So you can see we're at 124 kilometers up from altitude, which it's dropping steady. It's at 77 miles above the Earth now. And the speed is going faster now as we're coming down. 26,628. Let's see, 26,628. And it's going 26. What was that number again? I can't read. 26,635. 26,635. And that's approximately 16,500 miles it's going now. So it's dropping in altitude, but it's picking up on speed. And the glow there is the re-entry. And let's see if we got any audio. Nope, they still got the music. So, but it's dropping down, so we should be seeing pretty much the plasma build up on the heat shields on the bottom portion. And I've seen previous flights where the view that they show where the flap was just hanging on by a thread, but it was still operational though. So this is some exciting stuff to be watching here. And we're an hour into the broadcast, and I do appreciate the views. We got 4 people on Rumble. Thank you very much. We got 1 person on Twitch, 1 person on locals. Wow, we got 12 people on YouTube. Thank you, YouTube. Holy criminy. We got 12 folks. Thank you very much. Look at that number, 12. Wow. I think that's the most I've ever had on YouTube. Thank you very much, YouTube. Greatly appreciate it. And the glow right there, that's the heat shield starting to do what it's supposed to do, protect the underbelly of the Starship 39 as it's coming back in. We're at 108 kilometers above the Earth, which is approximately 67 miles above the Earth right now. So it is making a re-entry, and there's some plasma buildup at the end. The other end of the Starship. And it's pretty cool seeing the S39. That's the number designated for this. This is the version 3, so this is a brand new version, first of its kind there, with the upgrades from all they had the original first version and version 2, but this is the first version 3 that's made it into the outer limits, or into outer space there on the outer atmosphere for a suborbital flight as it's making its way down. It's probably on the other side of the south of portion of Africa, coming over the Indian Ocean now. But we do have the plasma buildup now. And there's the flap right there. They have heat shields on the other side as the benchmark, but I've seen in previous flight that flap right there has gotten a little deteriorated in previous flights. So they've got some outstanding camera views on this particular flight there. Test flight number 12 it is. So this is the 12th one they've launched. I want to thank very much. We're up to 15 viewers. I'm just noticing that number, 15 viewers, or no, 13 viewers. I can look at my glass, but still, it's we got quite a few YouTube viewers, and thank you very much, YouTube. Appreciate it. And we've got 5 people on Rumble, 1 person on local, and 1 person on Twitch. So for a total of 19 folks. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. I am a space nut. I love watching these flights. This is the future of space flight, this, and as well as the Artemis program that NASA has. It'll be interesting to see what Blue Origin does as far as they have launched. They have a couple of rockets they have launched, but they're not as active as SpaceX is. So you can see the plasma build up. Let's see if we got any audio from the SpaceX folks here. Nope, still got music. Over on the right, the lower right corner, I guess there is we're over Madagascar. So I just noticed that on the I'm sort of focused in on the speed and the altitude, but over on the right it gives you the orientation of the Starship as it's coming in along with the globe as far as that goes. Let me make this a little bit bigger so you can see that a little bit better. So there we go. And it's sort of angled up as it's coming in, and those heat shields are taking effect. You can see the glow. That's the plasma buildup on the bottom portion that's causing that glowing. And the heat shields, they're pretty extensive on the heat shields this time around. It just seems like they covered a lot more area, more intense. So but the little globe there is showing that they're off in the middle of the Indian Ocean now, coming down towards the. It'll be probably about I think in past flights they've been about 1,000 to 1,500 miles off of the west coast of Australia. So let's see what we got here for an update. And,
welcome back to Starship Flight 12, the first test flight of Starship version 3. As Dan mentioned earlier, we were able to make contact with the modified satellites just shortly after deployment. And as you may have seen, we got some sweet views of those sats looking back at the ship. Pretty cool to see.
Yeah, those views were incredible.
Now, as you see on your screen, currently the ship is re-entering the Earth's atmosphere. This is the plasma starting to build up on the exterior of the vehicle. Now, we do not plan to recover the spacecraft today, but rapid and reliable reusability is the ultimate goal.
Yeah, that's right. And re-entry is a critical phase of flight, and we need information on how the ship's systems perform. Re-entry is an extremely demanding portion of flight where we essentially have to scrub all of the energy we use to launch the rocket back off in reverse. So the 18 million pounds of thrust that we had off 33 of those Raptor engines.
Just a little.
Just a little. We're now, and then another, several minute burn on the ship. We're now basically undoing all that energy here via aerodynamic braking, essentially. And of course, Starlink is a big part of it, as that's what allows us to actually gather this data and show these live views. And again, the data gathering is really the main reason why we're doing these flight tests. So Starlink provides us just one more path to collect that data that ultimately allows us to rapidly iterate Starship's design.
Now, if ship manages to make it all the way through reentry, we'll collect valuable data on the spacecraft flying through the Earth's atmosphere at these hypersonic speeds, which is basically more than 5 times the speed of sound. Now, we do anticipate that it might be a little bit of a spicy reentry, so we'll see how far we get. Reentry is typically a portion of flight where we don't have communications with the spacecraft because it's re-entering at or around orbital velocity, roughly 8 kilometers per second, or for those of us that think in other units, roughly 5 miles per second. At those speeds, the spacecraft is moving through the atmosphere and it creates that plasma field that we saw forming around the vehicle.
Yeah, and although the plasma looks really cool, it does distort some communication frequencies. So it's not uncommon to experience brief blackouts in communication.
I just think it's
of course,
neat.
thinking
You
long
see
term
a
here,
bluish
Starship
glow.
is
That's,
designed to
something
land on
new.
Mars where there are no runways or other humans to help out. That's why we're going with the propulsive landing instead of a more traditional means like parachutes. Propulsive landing, not only, again, is it more cool, but it enables a more rapidly reusable rocket.
Yeah. Now, we should hear some call-outs as the ship makes its way back to Earth. When we hear entry max heating and entry max Q, that means the ship has made it through the maximum heating and aerodynamic loads that it will experience as it returns. So if we make it through those, we're doing pretty well.
Yeah. And you can see in the bottom left right now, we're at 23,500 kilometers per hour speed. That's just a crazy number to think about. But as we keep progressing in the mission, we are going to hear a call out when the ship is transonic and then subsonic. So transonic refers to the period of flight where the velocities of airflow surrounding and flowing past the vehicle are concurrently below, at, and above the speed of sound, kind of in that Mach 0.8 to 1.2 range. And for reference, commercial jets have a range of cruising speeds, but mostly fly around Mach 0.74 to Mach 0.85. And after we hear the call out that Starship is transonic, we should hear the call out when Starship is subsonic. This refers to speeds that are much less than the speed of sound, so at this point in the flight, ship's velocity will be slowing down.
We definitely have a crowd still here in the lobby of SpaceX headquarters down here at Starbase, Texas. Everyone is, loves watching ship re-entry. It's always such amazing colors. This must be what it feels like to be one of those praying mantis shrimp. I can't remember exactly what the name is, but the ones that see in billions of colors. This is the closest I feel to being one of those.
Yep. I think one other thing that's cool to point out right now is look in the bottom right. You can see where we are on a globe there. We're squarely in the Indian Ocean already, and we've only been flying for 53 minutes.
Yeah.
So pretty crazy. We went all the way from Texas to the Indian Ocean in less than an hour.
Yeah. She flies pretty fast.
She flies very fast.
All right, so the light show continuing. We are through the period of peak heating, and we'll be looking at the peak pressure coming up in the next couple of minutes. The next 10 minutes are probably going to be the spiciest of entry today. As a reminder, we are going to be doing some stress work on this ship where we're going to do a maneuver where we kind of kick the nose up to fully deploy those aft flaps. To really
noticing
get
a little bit of
a
flame
good
out there.
test of the structural strength of that part of the ship. We did that on one previous flight test on version 2. We're going to try and do that today.
This is where the most
since we did skip
right
the
now.
in-space burn, we're carrying a little bit of extra propellant in our header tanks up in the nose. And so that's going to put a little bit of extra stress on those forward flaps as we come in. So we will see if they're able to hold through that reentry. So that will be another watch item. We did skip that in-space burn, but we are expecting at least 2 of those sea level engines to try and ignite for a landing burn. We entered the entry period in a good attitude, so hopefully making our way to the targeted splashdown point. We've got that Starship recovery team standing by, and we should be about 10 minutes away from splashdown. So a lot of excitement over the next couple of minutes. Kate and Jake, let's see how Starship holds up on the way in.
Yeah, and we just heard on the nets there that engine chill has started. So essentially what that means is we are prepping the landing engines by getting them down to temperature ahead of that landing burn later in the mission here.
And on a lot of our previous flight tests, we've been removing a bunch of the tiles. If you've watched those, we were really intentionally trying to push ship beyond its limits. On the last flight, we even had basically a hole get punched into the liquid oxygen tank that you could see when we did the landing burn into the ocean, and the ship was still able to make it. But right now, we're really going to be testing the structural strength of these flaps on the way in, and this is a flight test. We're trying to intentionally find where our limits are. And in this view, you're looking at a whole bunch of tiles. I think Jake talked about it earlier. We bonded some additional tiles to the leeward, or kind of the metal.
We saw those tiles on the top side of the flap there, but just to give you the latest Starships, SpaceX Starship version 3, number 39 is beginning re-entry with plasma blooming around the flaps. It should make water landing and splashdown in the ocean if all goes to plan. And there's a couple things that haven't gone to plan, and that is the relight of the engine. So let's go ahead and get back to the commentary here.
Than 60 kilometers.
It's roughly 35 miles above the Earth right now.
All right, we're about 8 minutes away from our targeted landing and splashdown time. Again, this is when the ship's going to start really
ship
getting
is approaching
through
the
ringer.
end of the peak heating region.
Just heard the call out, getting to the end of the peak heating. So the highest temperature the Starship's going to see during its reentry.
You can see off to the left, just right where that bump is
This
off to the
camera
left. That's one of
angle
those white
changes
tiles
as
they
it
key
is
in on.
attached to the forward flap on Starship. So we're actually experiencing the articulation of that hardware, helping to steer the ship down for its precise landing in the Indian Ocean.
Yep, that is just a really cool, kind of cool piece of perspective there. I know some people say it makes them a little seasick, but I definitely love it. It makes it feel like you're really riding along with the ship on the way down.
Yeah, and aside from just looking cool, all these camera views providing just really critical data on how the heat shield, how the flaps themselves are holding up. That's why we've got these in the flaps and then all scattered all around the ship so you can see how they hold up. There's some internal to the vehicle too and we're getting all of this video back via Starlink. Even as we're just enshrouded in plasma, we're able to kind of operate at a high enough frequency to punch through, and that is blue ocean and sunlight you're seeing just beyond the flap. So we are coming down into daylight, hopefully splashing down in the next 6 minutes or so in the Indian Ocean. We've still got a couple maneuvers lined up where we're going to be really stressing the flaps on the ship. So
ship has passed through the peak heating region. External temperatures are coming down.
Wow, that is incredible news. As Dan mentioned, we were expecting this reentry to be super spicy, but excellent news that we're now past that period of peak heating and that now the external temperatures are starting to decrease. Those heat shield tiles there on the belly of the ship really doing a ton of work to burn off all of that inertia that the vehicle had prior to re-entering the atmosphere.
Yeah, and you can tell by the G meter down on the bottom right that we're starting to pick up a couple more Gs here. So we're definitely entering the thicker part of the atmosphere where we're scrubbing off all that energy, like Kate's saying.
All right, just about 5 minutes or so to go. We're coming up shortly on the maneuver where we're going to, it's affectionately called the flap slap, where we're going to kind of pitch the nose up on the ship, and you're going to see those aft flaps, the ones in the very bottom, fully deploy.
Ship is at peak dynamic pressure.
And we're now at peak pressure.
Ship flap load test has started.
Those flaps, that flap looks like in excellent condition right now compared to previous flights from what I've seen. Yeah, it's just, it's moving around. They haven't lost any tiles. This particular picture we're looking at right now, you see that little white one in the lower right-hand corner.
Looks like it's holding.
It seems like the heat shield is, the heat tiles.
Again, the intent of that was to put just
doing their
a
job.
lot of extra stress on those aft flaps. We are expecting the forward ones too to see a little bit of extra stress as we've got a little more propellant in our header tank. So the area right at the very nose of
Ship
Starship.
flap load test is complete.
And we're through that test.
There we go. And we just did that test at Mach 7, just for reference there. So we are still going incredibly fast.
Wow. That's something.
All right, we are just about 3.5 minutes or so away from our targeted landing burn. Again, we're expecting to try and see 2 of these Raptor engines light for the landing burn. Normally we plan for 3, but we're going to give it a try with 2. Hopefully we've got
Ship is starting the RTLS banking maneuver.
And that right there, so we're starting a banking maneuver, and essentially what that is when we come back to Starbase, or when we plan to come back to Starbase, the trajectory is designed so we'll essentially swing out over the Gulf and do a swoop maneuver to then come back to the towers for catch. And so we are doing that exact same maneuver as we head towards our targeted splashdown in the Indian Ocean.
Yeah, and that call out there that we heard, RTLS, stands for Return to Launch Site. So definitely a pretty cool thing we're demoing here on the ship, you know, as in the future we are going to be trying to bring the ship back to the launch site, which is going to be absolutely insane.
Absolutely. But of course, we want to test out these maneuvers, these principles prior to actually bringing the hardware back to the pad. This is the same reason why we were intentionally not trying to bring the booster back to the pad. So we're trying all these things out in this developmental phase of the vehicle, and really proving what a test flight is.
Absolutely.
Dynamic pressure is coming down.
All right, we heard there dynamic pressure coming down, and I'd say we're in a pretty good bank right now.
Yeah, executing.
It's looking pretty good right now, folks, compared to the previous
about 90
flights.
seconds away.
You can see some charring there. That's due to
clouds coming up.
the
Pretty
flow
sunrise
from
on the other
heat
side of the
shields.
planet.
But
Starship is subsonic and is on target.
The crowd here reacting to that call out, letting us know that we are on target for this precise landing in the Indian Ocean. This will once again be a soft splashdown. We should get some pretty cool views from the recovery team who we chatted with earlier. They are standing by to receive this ship.
Okay, the latest update on space.com. SpaceX reports Starship version 3 ship has passed the peak of heating and re-entry and is approaching splashdown zone in the Indian Ocean. Ship has its flaps in load at Mach 7. Landing burn is in minutes away, and it will go through the banking move it's used for a good engine and landing burn. So we're coming back down to Earth.
Amazing views of the Earth as the ship is coming back home. Thanks, Starlink.
Yeah, you can see the aft flap there making minor corrections.
Starship is turning for final approach to landing site.
Look at that turn.
There we go. Minor corrections and a full turn.
Oh, that's cool. That is cool right there, folks. That's a view
Starship
I have
doesn't
not seen
fly like an
before.
airplane.
That
It's
is
a lot
pretty
more like a
rad.
skydiver.
Wow.
Full belly flop on the way down, using those flaps similar to arms to help change the path of the air over you. Coming up real soon. Again, going for landing burn, trying to light 2 of these Raptor sea level
Just
engines.
a mile up, mile and a half up off the Earth.
Landing burn startup.
Landing burn startup. 2 engines lit. Successful flip.
Oh, wow. That was cool, folks.
Buoy cam
Starship is
catching
landed.
it.
Good shutdown.
Oh. Oh, wow. Good flight, Starship 39 version 3. A big bang at the end.
That ball of fire is exactly what we wanted to see for the ship today. Weird as it may sound to hear, but it is the truth.
Absolutely wild. At the beginning of the show,
We're pretty hyped.
we guaranteed excitement at the beginning of the show, and I'd say Starship delivered.
Absolutely. An incredible day for Starship. That was the first flight of that completely redesigned vehicle. As you can tell, the teams are incredibly proud of what we just saw.
Yeah, V3 definitely showed up. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've pretty happy crowd in the control room behind me. I will say it's probably the most excited I've seen a lot of people in a really long time. On target landing. Wow. Actually, let's jump over. Hey Tyler, how's everyone holding up in Hawthorne?
We're having a great time, Dan. Thank you so much. That was another exciting Starship flight in the books, and we hope that you enjoyed those awesome Starlink views. So congratulations to the team at Starbase and everyone here and around the company.
All right, folks. That's the end of the broadcast, or that's the end of their broadcast. They're wrapping up there with with a big boom there as far as what Deplorable says. Let me bring this up here. And what was it? Deplorable boom. Yeah, that's we never had that type of view. They must have had like a drone sitting up top. And as far as that goes, Deplorable. It just some unique pictures that I have never seen before on the previous 11 launches and stuff. And of course the chants USA, USA. Yes, thank you for the American flags, Deplorable. Thank you very much, my friend. So that was pretty exciting as far as the flight. I think there might have been, this is a test flight, so they're taking a lot of the data. One of the things I observed, it went up, and you could noticeably see it decreasing once it got past passing over the south portion of the continent of Africa. And that indicate, the speed was going up, but the altitude the speed was going up and the altitude was coming down. So it was basically coming down, where it was the opposite when it was launching and stuff like that. So and I didn't notice until about more than halfway where they had an indicator down over here in this corner of the screen. So let me see. I got to rearrange this as far as that goes. I don't really like that right there. It should go. Yeah, I got to move that around, I guess. But this has been, even though the spaceship, the heavy booster is probably more or less in the same type of condition as a Starship when it came down in the Gulf of America, and as far as exploding and stuff like that, but they're collecting data to where for future flights to eventually make this spacecraft safe. After seeing that picture of the Starship just touching down and then tipping over and then it exploded, it just um, one would say, well, that doesn't look safe to me. It's a test flight, and test flights are expected that. So it's successful that it got it off the ground. Pretty much the same flight plan as they had in the previous ones. And deplorables. Yeah, I thought it was super cool too, deplorable. Yeah, very much so. I thought that was super cool. So do say congratulations to the folks at SpaceX as far as working on the Starship there, and we'll wait and see how long it will be for the next one here that they may have. And I thought that was neat. Like they're showing it right now here, the satellite coming out. We've never had that view before, right there, and that is super cool. That is way super cool. Because that view right there, that is a totally new view for these type of flights and stuff like that. And to be able to see that was pretty neat to see. And there's the slit where the Starlink satellites were going out of. So, but that's about it. We're on for about an hour and a half, which is about the norm for these flights. The heat shield, I got to say, the heat shield, in my view, it worked great as far as that goes, and I just thought that was fantastic. And let me go ahead and shut all these down. I guess they're getting ready to wrap up and stuff like that. So, but we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. I do appreciate you being here, Deplorable. Glad to have you, and you have a good weekend. I take it you're not at the camp yet. You said you were going camping. It's not raining here, or is it? No, we got cloudy skies and stuff like that. So I know you said it was going to be raining. You're going to be out camping and stuff. And let's see, I got to bring that just down a tad more. Let's see if I can bring that down just a tad more. Seeing that I'm up here, let's see, can I bring that down to 1? No, that goes too far. I don't want. Okay, we'll just have to leave it right there. I think that'll work right there. So we're going to go ahead and end the broadcast here. I would say thank you very much, Deplorable, again. Oh, it's sprinkling there? Okay, not yet. Yeah, you said this morning on the morning broadcast, morning coffee show there that was sprinkling. Okay, yeah, I'm looking out my way. We're getting that weather coming our way. For those folks that are watching the replay, Deplorable there. He's out in Bradford, Pennsylvania, which is about a 3-mile drive west of where I'm at here in the southern tier of upstate New York. So he's right down the road. And yeah, again, loving the flags. God bless America. Isn't it great to see something like that? We've come a long way in space technology, I guess you could say. And this Starship with the heavy booster is just phenomenal. So, okay, folks, I'm Rich Roberts here on the Rumble, using Rumble 2.0. And we appreciate Rumble for providing us with the platform here. Greatly appreciate it. And it's always fun using it to sit down, watch this. This is history, folks. This is space history. Right at our being able to watch this, because back in the day, back in the 60s, when they had the Mercury, Gemini, and the beginning of the Apollo, I remember I was just a young kid there, and you just had to depend on CBS, ABC, and you didn't get this type of coverage as far as right there, looking down the belly of the beast there, in a manner of speaking, there on the Starlink satellites there that they were deploying. So I do appreciate your views, and the weekend's here, so I'll probably be doing some type of broadcasting, gaming wise, or something like that. So you can follow or check me out on these platforms: Rumble, Locals, YouTube and Twitch, and check out the links to other social media feeds that I'm on. And I'm on a whole host of other social media feeds or platforms. I can't name them all. Just Google Fireman Rich and you'll see where else I'm at. I'm always used to saying that. So we're going to go ahead and exit stage left here, or stage right, whatever you want to say. And we're going to say good. I appreciate the views as far as that goes. And this has been fun. And I look forward to the next launch, as far as we'll have to change the numbers over here on the patch that I made up, and change it to test flight number 13 as far as that goes, and see what Starship. I think it's going to be, I haven't heard any numbers as far as the next ship. It'll probably be ship 39, booster 19 or 18 or 20 or something like that. So, but it'll be test flight number 13, the lucky 13 flight next time. So that should be interesting. All right, folks, you all have a good one wherever you may be. Live life, have fun. Ciao for now. As always, peace and take care. Have a great evening and a great weekend.